Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today on this fine Wednesday. The Nasdaq notching its sixth gain in a row. A lot to discuss today, as always, and joining me to break things down is my colleague Ken Shreve. Ken, what do you have for us today?
Yeah, some nice buying into the close for the Nasdaq. Closed up near its session high, and like you said, six gains in a row. Pretty impressive. Starting to see more extended stocks out there, getting a little trickier to put money to work. But let's take a look at some stocks here. GE Aerospace, GE is a ticker there. Also Flex, FLEX, and finally Broadcom, AVGO.
Sounds like a plan, Ken. We'll take a look at those stocks, but first, let's take a closer look at the major indexes. The Nasdaq up 0.7% today, and you are absolutely right, closing close to day highs there by the end of the day. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 also edged into positive territory by the end of the session, up 0.1% after hovering around the flat line most of the trading day. Meanwhile, the Dow down about 0.2%, and the Russell 2000 down 0.7% or so, headed into the final stretch of the day. A big gain on Monday to kick off the week for small caps. Now, taking a look at the NASDAQ here, we're on quite a win streak now, Ken.
Yes, we are, and this gap above the 18,000 level earlier in the week, very impressive. And I mentioned the heavy volume in the Nasdaq, especially 2 out of the past 3 days. Really, just seeing an index under accumulation here, which is a good sign, but it is maybe starting to look a little stretched here, a little overbought, where you might expect a pullback sooner rather than later. But we've run up a lot in a short amount of time. But again, the volume has been impressive. We've seen a lot of leading growth stocks acting well here. So things look pretty good right now. When we do start to pull back, like we've been talking about, we want to see these distribution days, higher volume declines. We want to see those kind of kept on a tight leash. Maybe we get some lower volume declines and a pullback here, and maybe that paves the way for more gains. So, looking a little stretched here. Definitely a lot more extended stocks out there than there were, say, 2 or 3 weeks ago. But things look pretty good, and busy day of economic data tomorrow too.
Yeah. And we have a number of stocks extending gains after breaking out, and a lot of others that have triggered alternative entries. Maybe they're carving the right sides of bases. We'll be taking a look at a couple today. And so it seems like at this time, if we are starting to get a little stretched, it doesn't necessarily mean you can't make new buys. You just have to be aware of where we're at in the market, manage your risk accordingly. But hopefully, some of these stocks that are forging the right sides of bases or extending gains, maybe over the next couple of weeks, we can see new setups, some tight action. I think that obviously would be ideal versus rolling over, giving back gains on the index level and those individual stocks. That's definitely not what we want to see, like you said.
That is very true, and I think what is encouraging with even though we've seen a lot of stocks, breaking out over the past few weeks, there are still a lot of setups out there. So there are still a
Mhm.
lot of stocks, for example, that have rounded out the right side of these cup bases. They're up near highs. I know some are kind of waiting for maybe one last little shakeout. It's tough to chase a stock when it kind of runs straight up. So even though we've got a lot of cup bases out there and still a lot of decent setups, I think that bodes well for this market rally that we've seen. But as always, you just want to be careful. And one of the stocks we're going to talk about later is a stock that's a little bit extended up here now, and it's just a good example how you don't want to chase, but you can look for low volume pullbacks. So still seeing some setups out there, but with these cut bases and stocks up near highs, thinking some of them are going to maybe maybe drift a little bit lower here, and maybe give a better entry.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And hopefully, investors have been raising exposure since that follow through day that we had on April 22nd, continuing to check boxes for the bulls as the days and weeks progress here. So seeing a lot of power, and hopefully this strong uptrend can continue.
I
We
think we
are
need
on
to. I
power
think
trend watch.
Yeah, well, I mean, we need to check with Justin as well and see how many times. I think I counted 16 days since the follow-through day on April 22nd, and we still have not seen a higher volume
Oh,
decline on the Nasdaq. That's a pretty long stretch there,
it's a
16
good
16
sign.
days, and you can see a lot of blue up bars there at the bottom, and you can see the downside volume. Very very light. Yep.
Absolutely. Yep. So we're on power trend watch. We'll have to see maybe by Thursday or Friday if we do get that power trend signal, which just means you want to let your winners run. It's a mindset for a strong bull market, essentially. Okay, let's move on and take a look at the S&P 500. We are seeing another day of gains here, but I think the other thing to point out today is after you have two big days of gains to kick off the week, the fact that today's trading range was so narrow, that's pretty impressive to hold the large gains that we've seen on Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah, and we're seeing individual stocks do this. You talk about all these boxes being checked. That is certainly true. So a very impressive day for the S&P 500. It lagged it lagged the Nasdaq, but like you said, it up 2 days sharply. Hardly moved at all today. Still showing a lot of strength and support. April 22nd was a significant day for the S&P 500 as well. So we've had multiple up days, and we had one single little distribution day, maybe I don't know 5 6 days ago. You can see volume was below average, but it was higher than the prior session. So this is an index that has really is really thriving as well. I will say, I was talking with Dave Chung just a little while ago, but breadth watchers have been pretty happy. The breadth has been very strong on the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 during this latest rally, so that's a good thing. A lot of stocks participating here today. Breadth was almost 2 to 1 negative on the Nasdaq, so you had a lot of strength in AI stocks again, like you saw yesterday. A lot of large cap technology stocks. Uh, uh, Working, and so we'll see.
Okay. Let's speaking of large cap technology, let's take a look at QQQ up 0.6% today. Ken, it looks like we're 4% off highs.
Pretty amazing. This rally yesterday, had a big day for Nvidia gapping above its 200-day moving average after that, Saudi Arabia news. SMH has been performing very well here. So just really seeing a lot of a lot of strength out here. So again, it's easy to get complacent, in a market environment like this. But so you want to be diligent. I'm sure a lot of people that started putting money to work on or around April 22nd have got some pretty decent gains at this point. So you kind of ride this trend for now, because we're really not seeing any weakness at all. But we'll see. But index is acting quite well.
They absolutely are. You also wanted to check out eToro as a sign that the IPO market coming back to life. The ticker here, ETOR. And since we only have one day of trade, I'll go to the intraday chart here just to give a little bit of a sense of what unfolded today. Tell us more.
Well, it was a successful pricing. It was supposed to price between 46 and 50, and then it priced last night at 52. It opened a little over 69 and went over 74 early in the session, and it came back down. But to see the stock closing at 67, I mean, this is a very successful debut for eToro. Mentioned on IBD Live this morning that we are starting to see the IPO market start to shape up here. So we've got Chime, that announced terms yesterday. This is a fintech, so maybe we see some IPOs coming out. This could bode well for the market as well. So another box you want to check. You want to see some sort of vibrancy in the IPO market. It's been dead for a while, but
Mhm.
nice to see a strong debut for eToro today. This is basically an online brokerage based out of Israel.
Yeah. And so, in terms of how to trade this the IBD way, we want to see some sort of base structure. It can be shorter than your standard base patterns that take, you know, 5 to 8 weeks to
Several weeks.
form.
Yeah.
But something like a Coreweave, for example, which does have earnings, I believe tonight.
Yes.
Or yeah, so Coreweave, you can see how you get this initial pop, but you risk getting in too early by a pullback. So wait for it to start forming the right side of the base, and see if we can get eToro to form a base after its debut, as you mentioned. So looks like CoreWeave up about 2.6% after the bell here with earnings out tonight.
Yeah, this is a stock that I own personally, full disclosure, but we're interested to see what the numbers look like. I mean, you look at the weekly chart here for CoreWeave, and this is a very compelling growth story in the market. Not profitable yet, but they're supposed to be profitable next year. But the revenue growth
Mhm.
has been super impressive. Don't know what the first quarter revenue number is, but seeing the stock up a little bit, but just a classic breakout from a first stage base here. So this is. A company like Nvidia, they're technically a hyperscaler, so they have these data centers that run on these Nvidia chips, and then they rent these data centers out to clients. So pretty interesting business, and you can see the top line growth has been super impressive in recent quarters, and it is expected to continue. So we'll see what the numbers look like. Haven't had a chance to look at the report yet, but
Yeah.
indicated a little bit higher here.
Yeah, some bonus content for our audience today. Now let's take a look at the three stocks that you wanted to highlight, Ken. Here's GE Aerospace. What a move this stock has had from the lows, only a handful of down days, and those down days have been quite mild. So, talk to us about the stock, where it stands now.
Well, I mean, you're seeing a lot of stocks that look like this right now. A lot of stocks that participated since the April 22nd follow through day, and you have GE Aerospace that has been on a tear right along with the major stock indexes. So, but again, a classic example. You're going to see a lot of stocks here that are still in that blue shaded area. So technically, yeah, they're within 5%. In GE Aerospace's case, it's within 5% of that 214.21 pivot. But you look at a stock that has only had two declines since the follow through day. So it is tough to kind of condone a buy up here, even though it technically is in the 5% buy zone. I think you'd probably be better off, and you have five straight weekly gains and another one taking shape this week. So got to be real careful now not to chase
Mhm.
performance. So with this one, I got to put it on the watch list. Just like GEV, another name we're watching, the energy spinoff here. See lots of bases setting up here, but with GEV also six straight up days. So back to GE, maybe wait for a pullback down to some short-term moving averages, maybe the 10-day line. That'll be a little closer to that pivot. So just now is a time to be building your watch list just like it is, looking for good stocks to buy. Very impressive move for GE, but got to wait for a little pullback here, and maybe that 10-day line, which is sitting right at that 214 area, would be a place where it could find support.
Okay, let's move on and talk about AI infrastructure play Flex.
Yes, these electronic contract manufacturers. A lot of people don't realize, but they're seeing a lot of data center growth, including Flextronic, or they used to be called Flextronic. Now they're called Flex. They're a provider of manufacturing services, power products for data centers, as are a lot of these contract manufacturers. So this is a stock that is looking pretty good here. Again, five straight up weeks and another one taking shape this week, showing some nice accumulation as the right side of the base builds here. That gives it a solid accumulation distribution rating of A. So it looks like a stock that's under accumulation, and in this healthy market, again, just wait for a little pullback here and maybe get a better opportunity to buy it. But this is one of the leaders right now in the contract manufacturing group.
Yeah, perhaps it'll tack on a handle here. Recently reported earnings, that's where that upside reversal on the right side of the base came from, and now it's adding to its gains. Next on the list, let's take a look at AI chip bellwether Broadcom, AVGO, also forming the right side of a base.
Yeah, taking a look at just some stocks building bases here and again. I think it bodes well. We're in a healthy market now. You still have a lot of stocks setting up here. I don't think Broadcom is actionable now. Another stock that's run up a lot over a short period of time, but it is another good base taking shape. Earnings, what, about 3, 4 weeks away, thereabouts, maybe 3 weeks
Mhm.
away. But this is just as much an AI stock as Nvidia is. I mean, Nvidia gets a lot of the headlines for their super premium chips, but Broadcom is a very big player in AI chip design. This one still looks like it could be in the early stages of a move. Market cap north of $1 trillion now, and you look at the sales growth, revenue growth in recent quarters. Very strong growth is looking very good at Broadcom, like it is with Nvidia. So I think the important thing about the Saudi Arabia news yesterday, where Nvidia had a strong day, Palantir, a lot of these AI stocks did well. As Ed pointed out in the video yesterday with you, there was a lot of uncertainty about maybe a slowdown in AI spending, a lot of uncertainty maybe that Nvidia had put in a top. After a massive price move, but that has come back to life. So this is again another positive element for the market. A little less uncertainty on tariffs, a little less uncertainty as a result of this huge uh, uh, billion-dollar AI deal with the Saudi Arabia company yesterday for Nvidia. So you got the AI stocks coming back into favor.
Yeah.
Big reason why the Nasdaq outperformed again today. So I think Broadcom is as much worth watching as Nvidia is right now.
Sounds like a plan. All right, Ken. Well, we appreciate it as always. Thank you so much for your perspective.
Of course.
And thanks everyone for tuning in. That is it from us for today, but it is Wednesday. So make sure to tune in live at 5 p.m. Eastern on our YouTube channel for our weekly Investing with IBD podcast, hosted by Justin Nielsen. This week's guest is Arnie Gutierrez, Senior Product Coach at Market Surge. Always value his take on looking at weekly charts and how he's looking for leaders that he can get big moves out of as the market turns. So make sure to tune in live at 5 p.m. Eastern. And then you can also listen to the audio version wherever you like listening to your audio content when that drops later today as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. And we'll see you tomorrow morning on IBD Live, investors.com/IBD Live for all the details on our daily morning live stream starting 10 minutes before the opening bell. We will see you there. And then we'll also see you right back here tomorrow after the close.